Melee Stats is proud to present SSBMRank Summer 2024, the annual countdown of the 50 best players of the year so far. Today, we look at the best of the best as we present the top 10 players of the first half of 2024. Certain staples of the community leave a lasting impression, both on and off the controller sticks. One competitor who might catch your eye is a guy in a snapback whipping around the venue, fist-bumping his long-unseen friends, grinning and loudly cracking jokes. He happens to be the pride of Spain and one of the most devastating Peach players to ever do it. For years, Alvaro Garcia has been sitting at the top echelon of the European ranks mostly uncontested. Despite the ocean between him and the mainstream competitive community, with each trip across the Atlantic, he chips away at the North American scene in chunks. He is stamping his passport and your favorite player more regularly than ever. Just this year, Zayn, Amsa, and Joshman have all fallen to the terrifying turnip farmer. For the better part of a decade, Europeans have been pleading for everyone to see the talent of Trifasia. Now, he's undeniable. Trif hits like a truck. Miles and miles of Fox roadkill lie behind him. Ahead, only bigger targets await the ever-accelerating Spaniard. After Get On My Level 2022, in the hotel bar, Toph lent a downtrodden Miles Sunsei Foster a piece of wisdom. Just keep showing up. It was exactly the advice Sunsei needed to hear right at that moment. A few weeks later, he made his first ever major top 8 at the Big House 10. That was the advice Sunsei needed then, not what he needs now. These days, he says he's evolved a new mantra for himself. Show up with purpose. Every time Sunsei sits down to play Melee, he goes in with the intention to find joy in the experience. One important caveat: joy is not synonymous with fun. A 2-hour session of getting schooled by Zayn? Probably not fun. But when Sunsei stands up from that education, he searches for the joy of getting to play against Zayn, of pushing a competitor to the limit, of trying to solve the inexhaustible puzzles that Melee has in store for him today. 2 years out from that morsel of Toph wisdom, Sunsei returned to Gommel and stunned his Canadian brethren with a third-place finish that has catapulted him into the top 10 worldwide. Those doubters who point out that Sunsei benefited from Cody Schwab's early upset would do well to remember he already reverse 3-0'd 2023's #1 on Canadian soil once this year. It's stiff competition, but he might perpetrate the scariest Fox-on-Fox violence in the world. That bronze medal, his best result ever, probably brought him a fair share of joy. And you know what? It looked pretty damn fun too. We've been watching Justin Wizrobe Hallett downthrow Juan Hungrybox for 10 years now, and you know what? It never gets old. The first stock in CEO 2024 Grand Finals, where the up air DI trap disintegrated Jigglypuff at 35%, felt like some primal, universal release of energy. That energy only says one thing: first place or bust. Fountain, set 2, Hungrybox's rest connects, and for a moment there was a flicker that it all might short at the finish. Then Wizzy does what he does best: he executes. Ledge dash, a frame-perfect turnaround grab, C-stick forward, and another Florida tournament is thrown by Falcon at the highest podium. For Wizrobe, actually getting to the venue to start his climb can sometimes be more difficult than playing the game. But with Luminosity paving the way to future majors, there's little doubt it will only be a matter of time before he gets more shots at top players. Call it what you want: hopium, a shot in the dark, or the heavens aligning. From the perspective of a Falcon truther, and maybe from even some of your favorite top players, a sponsored Wizrobe might be the scariest player of all time. For SSBMRank Summer 2024, he lands at a respectable number 8, but with more deep runs ahead, a shot at number 1 might be in his future. When not on pace for another Super Mario 64 PB, Curtis Moki Pratt can often be found in top 8 of any given major on any given weekend. Over the past few years, Moki has grown from exemplary underdog to an expected threat, as well as a regular member of the top 10 on SSBMRank. Following his meteoric rise, the frenetic Fox has logged 6 months of consistently strong placements to maintain his status quo as a member of Melee's top echelon. Moki has become synonymous with success in Melee, cementing his elite status through a winning record on Zayn and former demon Hungrybox. At Collision 2024, he managed to snap his 8-set, near 5-year-long loss streak to Mango, taking his first lifetime win against the kid on the way to a 4th-place finish that tied his best major placement for the year. After Collision, Moki took to Twitter to speak about his recent performances, noting that he felt he was putting the puzzle pieces together on his quest for a first major win. With this newfound consistency, there's still plenty of time left for Moki to turn 2024 into a year full of firsts, and to finally break his first-place curse. Juan Hungrybox Debiedma opened the year with a declaration. He He would end his 3-year Smash Ultimate bender, and as a new, sober man, he would win a Melee Major. Sobriety isn't cheap. At Tip Top 15, Hungrybox was one edgeguard away from beating Mango, but instead, his 10-year streak of making top 8 was broken. The one part I truly didn't expect is the pressure. Losing now means it's completely on me rather than Ultimate taking my focus away, Hungrybox admits. Reflecting on his reign as the best player in the world, he says, Melee felt honestly like it was on easy mode most of the time in those years apart from Armada and some other top players occasionally. Now the difficulty in winning ramped up 10x. A close reading of his own performances points the way forward. He's got a 2-0 record on Cody Schwab, so the only real demon left for him is Zayn, who he was one frame short from beating last summer. Hungrybox is all in on Supernova 2024, the successor to Super Smash Con, to get his revenge. If I don't win Supernova, I'm going back to incorporating Ultimate, he promises. Anyone who's watched Hungrybox knows what it feels like when he refuses to lose. You can come this close to beating him, then he leans in, he clutches, he pops off, and you've lost. I'd hate to see a relapse. Jake Jmook Dorado has become all too familiar with traveling this year. Despite moving across the country from upstate New York to California to start a new chapter of his life in this year, Jmook has maintained his status as one of the most active top players. Along with Mango and Zayn, Jmook is one of the only 3 players to attend all 7 major events, but that hasn't stopped him from also attending locals in his new region and rooting for his FlyQuest teammates at events like EVO. Taking this journey while competing for best in the world is a balancing act that requires incredible motivation. Jmook started off last year strong by winning Genesis 9, the biggest tournament of the year, with an unprecedented solo Sheik run, then followed it up at Collision 2023 to cement a case for best in the world just 2 months later. Taking a step back from those incredible results while not having competition as his sole focus is only natural, and there have been glimpses of a top-notch Jmook with his runner-up finishes at Full Bloom 2024 and Get On My Level X. While a major tournament win eludes Jmook's resume this year, at least for now, it's clear that he's making the most of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to travel the world and create amazing memories with his friends. Masaya Amsa Chikamoto is the absolute hardest opponent Zayn has ever faced. In Modern Melee, no competitor has dominated Zayn the way Amsa has. This year, he is 4-0 on Zayn, and he's the only player in Melee history to look this unstoppable versus the world's reigning #1. Amsa's wish to become unbeatable against Marth had been granted. The monkey's paw curls. Cody Schwab is the absolute hardest opponent Amsa has ever faced. In Modern Melee, no competitor has dominated Amsa the way Cody has. This year, he's 5-0 on Amsa, and he's the only player in Melee history to look this unstoppable versus the greatest Yoshi player of all time. But there is hope for our mid-tier hero. At Battle of BC6, Amsa defeated Moki, who last year was a similar unbreakable wall. And that's not even mentioning Amsa's triumphant victories on elites like Mango and Jmook. In 2013, Yoshi was considered unviable for tournament play. In under a year, Amsa debuted top 100 with his former bottom-tier character. In 2018, skeptics thought the Yoshi-Jigglypuff matchup was unwinnable, a claim almost immediately disproven by Amsa defeating Hungrybox several times within a year. And in 2022, doubters believed that Yoshi might never win a major, citing impossible matchups, punishing odds, and powerful opponents. In response, Amsa proceeded to win 3 majors in the span of 2 months. Today, people claim he won't become the best player in the world, because they believe he can't overcome Cody Schwab. And if history's taught us anything, when the world doubts Amsa, that's when he makes history. Mango Nation has been ridiculed over the years for their blind faith. When he loses, he wasn't trying. When he wins, he was. What the haters don't want you to know, dear reader, is that this narrative is 100% completely, utterly true, and now we have the proof. Joseph Mango Marquez started 2024 in an uneven position. Zayn spent 2023 farming him, adding more and more to his win streak since Smash Summit 11. Cody Schwab, who Mango crushed to win events in 2022, suddenly could beat his Falco. His Dr. Mario wasn't strong enough to break through Hungrybox. Nobody could have predicted what came next. Mango bought an exercise bike. He started posting daily 20-plus mile bike rides to the Peloton leaderboard, discussing gameplay with KJH and Spacey Jam, and practicing Fox and Falco consistently on stream. He doesn't care about rankings or narratives, he's just gaming. His YouTube titles were full of promises. The real ones know it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. You gotta give me a little time to cook. And then, he cooked. At Tip Top 15, the most talent-dense tournament of the year, he 3-0'd Zayn for the first time ever, and 6-1 Cody to win the tournament like it was 2022 again. Mango's been doing this for 17 years, but this level of discipline feels new. A union of mind and physical self. Or, as a 41-pound lighter Mango put it, my body is a freak at the moment. You want to join him? Go buy a Peloton. Going into 2024, Cody Schwab was Melee's man to beat, a task that proved impossible at Genesis X. Cody swept his way to victory at the first Super Major of the year without dropping a set, showing the world that his #1 ranking in 2023 was far from a fluke. But with everyone gunning for Cody, the Foxmain's iron grip on the metagame slipped after Genesis. His most visible stumble came at Get On My Level X, where losses to Bing and Morse Code 762 sent Cody crashing down to an uncharacteristic 13th place. That a #2 ranking is arguably a disappointment for Cody reflects the caliber of the competitor he has become. Cody isn't just another elite player. He is slowly but surely building a resume that places him among the game's greatest of all time. But if he wants to go from one of the greatest to the greatest, he's going to need more #1 rankings, and at the end of the season, not the summer. If anybody knows exactly how good Cody Schwab is at Melee, it's Cody himself. In spite of his first half challenges, the New York native remains confident that he is the best player in the world, a belief clearly shared by his new sponsor, Nouns Esports. All it could take is a few good tournaments for Cody to once again obtain the #1 ranking, as well as all the glory and history it would imply. If you've heard it once, you've heard it 100 times. Zayn swags when he's ahead. Well, Melee's most dominant player of the 2020s has his crown back, and for his next trick, he's decided to stunt on the competition while drinking from Ultimate's Cursed Cup. Zayn Nagmi's penchant for leveling up in the lead hasn't always had a purely positive connotation. Before Fate 3 by the Sea last year, his 9 major wins only happened if he entered Grands from winner's side. And since Jmook's controller decided to gift Zayn that win, there were legitimate questions about Zayn's losers bracket capabilities. It seems heretical to imply Zayn is anything less than a complete player, but heartbreaking losses to Cody Schwab and Mango demonstrated that they possessed one thing he lacked: grit. Zayn's now won 2 majors from losers this year, including a 7-set run at Get On My Level X that lay waste to a lower bracket filled with players just below him on these rankings. Zayn says he owes his newfound resilience to a lighter mentality, especially the energy he's put into his rejuvenated stream. You've seen the clips of him screaming about Ultimate's various arcane curiosities, but stop in on an average day and you'll find Zayn chilled out, building playlists, and discussing JID albums with his chat. There's just one problem. Zayn might have #1 next to his name, but this year's record with his biggest rival reads 0-1 Cody Schwab's favor. Good news for Zayn, he's learned how to play from behind.